For the past month, I've been using the new eGPU dock from Aoostar, which is the successor to their previous, fairly popular model. The main feature of that eGPU dock was its built-in 800-watt power supply and the ability to connect via Oculink or USB 4. In the new AG03, USB 4 has been upgraded to Thunderbolt 5. And even though there are very few devices with this port right now, you can already use it because of the backwards compatibility if you have Thunderbolt 3, 4 or USB 4 device. I have a Thunderbolt 5 port in my motherboard, and I temporarily used a setup like this for the video. It's worth noting that this is the first Thunderbolt 5 eGPU dock for me, where I don't have to secure the GPU with tape. If you're curious about the performance difference between Thunderbolt 5 and Oculink, Lunus will help us with that.
Actually, Tech Power Up wrote an article a couple of months ago talking about how Thunderbolt 5 was anywhere from 16 to 36% worse for eGPU performance compared to Oculink. With that said,
the article he referenced took the information from my video. Everything is already covered in detail there, so I won't be focusing on that. Here I'll just share my personal experience with this eGPU dock, what I liked and what I didn't. As you might guess, it was sent to me for review before the start of sales, but as usual, I'll point out that everything said in this video is my own opinion, and the video was not moderated by Aoostar in any way. So, I'll briefly show you what's included in the box, we'll connect the GPU, and I'll share my first impressions.
It's actually smaller than I expected.
In the accessory box were 3 8-pin cables, a GPU stand, a power cable, and a Thunderbolt 5 cable. Here, aside from the Oculink port, we also have two Thunderbolt 5 ports. The one on the left is for additional USB devices, and on the right is the main one for connecting to your device. On the other side, there are 3 ports for plugging in the 8-pin cables. I'm going to connect an RTX 2060 right now, so one will be enough for me.
And the power cable to the GPU. I connect it to the socket and I can hear the sound, like it's powered on. I mean the power supply. But the thing is I didn't turn it on yet. Anyway, let's see if it works. I will use the same old 1X player. Okay, so even though it's super noisy, the GPU is detected. I see RTX 2060. Let's try to load the game. It's too loud. I can't. Yep, so the GPU works fine. I don't like this weird noise. Okay, gotta try with external monitor. Now that the external monitor is connected, I can finally check the bandwidth speed. And if I look at the bandwidth speed, it's pretty much the same as I had with other Aoostar eGPU, but still better than most of Thunderbolt 4 eGPUs. So it's a good result, but it's so noisy, I cannot deal with it. Let me disconnect the cable. It turns off, but not fully. The power supply is still working. I hear the fans. If I turn it off, it still works. Why? Okay, I will try the Oculink connection next. This handheld has Oculink port, and I'm gonna use it. Before connecting, make sure that both devices are turned off. And now I need to turn on eGPU first, and then the handheld. Jesus, it's so loud. To wrap it up, my first impression is that I like the design. It's minimalistic, it's small, it fits any GPU, but it's too loud.
Sorry for fixating on the noise so much, it's just that I really value a quiet setup and I rarely use headphones. The only way to shut it up is to unplug it from the wall. But apparently it's not that big of a deal for the majority, and most importantly, it's not something Aoostar is trying to hide. There is a warning on the website, and if I'd seen it earlier, I wouldn't have made such a big deal out of it. Moving on to the good stuff. The Oculink connection was stable, and just like with the EG02, I could use a Thunderbolt cable for charging. Later, I hooked up my RTX 5070 Ti and didn't even need any tape this time. To keep the graphics card from wobbling, I screwed in the included GPU stand or holder, and the GPU was secured perfectly. In terms of tech specs, it's a 1-to-1 repeat of the EG02. The exact same bandwidth, a second Thunderbolt 5 port for connecting extra devices, and backwards compatibility with other ports like Thunderbolt 3, 4 or USB 4. In short, the only problems you'll run into if you have a Thunderbolt 3 or 4 port with an Nvidia 50 series graphics card paired with an Intel CPU. I don't have an AMD handheld on me right now to test, but I saw a mention on their website that it's incompatible with the Ryzen Z2 Extreme CPU. In all other scenarios, it should run stably, and even perform better if you compare the bandwidth to a Thunderbolt 3 eGPU. This similarity to the EG02 is because they use the exact same controller. Design-wise, the AG03 definitely wins. The power supply is hidden, and the cable mass is kept to a minimum. We can connect a maximum of 3 8-pin connectors at 150 watts each, which gives us a total limit of 450 watts for the GPU. So you won't be able to connect something like RTX 5090, which pulls up to 600 watts, but let's be honest, there is no point in doing that anyway if we're talking about gaming. The bigger downside for me turned out to be the power supply itself. It's a server variant and it's quite loud, so keep that in mind. If we compare its price to the EG02, the difference is only 40 bucks. And I think you can't buy an 800 watt power supply for that kind of money. But on the other hand, the EG02 gives you the freedom to choose a power supply from a reliable brand that won't make noise when powered off. Plus, it comes with a power cable and a stand for a mini PC, but it can only fit a 2-slot graphics card. I have a full review of that one too, but either way, the choice is up to you. My personal favorite is the EG02. I'd really appreciate a like on this video, and all the necessary links will be in the description. Bye!